Hey, that's my niece. And bitch, I'll beat you up. Talk shit now. Talk shit now.
Whatever the fuck you is, you better
Bitch.
get the fuck out.
Shut your mouth. Hush. Hush!
Cut your hair! Who cut your hair?
Well, Wagwan, my youth. Welcome to a brand new episode of On the Line. You know, this show was so damn ratchet. Y'all know y'all saw the little clips in the beginning. I was literally here with the mute on, just hollering over those clips. Now, I live for TS, and we're going to talk about her in a second. That's going to be our opening, but, you know, this is welcome to On the Line. You know, it's Chris Avalon, and, you know, with On the Line, we basically just jump on the line, hence the title, and we just discuss some of the most interesting hot topics that I think that you guys want to hear, and then I just want to get your opinion on it. This is going to be particularly an LGBT related. I mean, a lot of my videos happen to always flow in that direction, and that seems to be the ones that get a lot of traction. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say, right? So, but this one, we're going to talk about everything from DaBaby being forgiven by some LGBTQ organization I ain't never heard of. I mean, if y'all heard of it, let me know in the damn comments, but I ain't never heard of these damn people. We're going to talk about that in a minute, my opinions on should we forgive DaBaby? Has he learned his lesson? Did he get his 50 lashes and serve his penance and do his Hail Marys and Our Fathers? Did he get enough of those out of the way for him to be allowed at the ratchet version of Coachella, which is known as Rolling Loud? We're also going to talk about Joe Budden coming out as bisexual. Is he trolling, or is he really, you know, munching bird for real? Or as I said, or is he, you know, just trolling for the sake of trolling? You know how a lot of these whores are on social media, always out here trolling for some damn attention. We're also going to talk about porn star Raheem Shabazz, who was suspended on Twitter for no apparent explanation. Some of my thoughts on that, you know, I saw that was trending all over social media, and then I was like, you know what, let me just do a little research and figure out what's going on, and I got the latest tea on that, and we're going to dive into that B-Boy Blues teaser trailer, the highly anticipated queer-based movie that is like, I'm so excited for this film because 27 years ago, the book came out, changed my life. When I was a kid, when I read it, a friend of mine gave it to me, whatever, and I got to read it, and it literally just changed my life growing up as a kid who was trying to figure out his sexuality and stuff. Growing up in New York City, we're going to talk about that. We're going to show you that trailer on here. That's Jussie Smollett's directorial debut. So we're going to get into all that. It's a whole lot. So it's going to be an action-packed show, by the way. So, but the first thing I want to do is I want to get right into this T.S. Madison interview. Now, she appeared on The Breakfast Club. Now, before I want to lay this into context, I don't know if I've said it here or if I've said it amongst friends or my podcast, which I got to start advertising that more. The Chris Avalon Show, I had a screenshot, everything I was supposed to send it. I don't remember if I gave it to production or not, but yes, also I do a podcast every Saturday from 2 to 4 on alldigitalradio.com. But if you can't listen to it live, you can definitely check it out on all streaming platforms. I'm on Apple Music, Stitcher, you know, all the latest. Just go on to Google or Schmoogler and look up the Chris Avalon Show. It'll pop up. It'll give you all the top, you know, all my streaming stuff. So you can definitely click like, subscribe, download it, listen to it at the gym, on the go, all that good stuff. So, you know, shameless self-promotion, but who else going to do it if I don't? So yeah, definitely check that out because I definitely get into that. But I don't remember if I spoke about it there. But I said before, because there was this whole thing with Flame Monroe, and I did play a clip of TS and Flame and a bunch of other people going in on her and the whole thing about her representation of the trans community and how dangerous they feel that it is. And it was a very insightful thing. I played the clip on my show. I believe it was last week's episode. So I played that clip because I wanted everybody to hear the whole context of that, and I was talking about it prior. And basically what I said in the conversation, I believe it was on the podcast, and I believe I said, I cannot see something like The Breakfast Club or a show like The Breakfast Club even inviting someone like a T.S. Madison on their platform, because what Flame is about suits their kind of narrative. These insecure cisgender heterosexual males who look at trans women as y'all a bunch of animals, y'all are men in dresses, like all these cliched stereotypes that a lot of the straight community buys into and believes when it comes to the trans community. Y'all don't look at trans people as human beings or trans women as human beings, especially if you're Black. And Flame was like, well, I could live in the real world and stuff, but it's like, okay, girl, so today you a man, tomorrow you done took your wig off and you tuck your dick, and then the next day you're so a lot of trans women don't have that choice. A lot of them live their lives as they do wherever they go, and they face discrimination. They don't have the choice of how you would just go and just, I'm a drag queen today and I'm trans tomorrow and I'm a man today and I'm this. It's like, okay, girl, like I get it. Like we all evolve as human beings, but when you do that, it kind of feel that the community feels a certain way where you're not being a true representation of the community. Now, I'm not saying that all people are monolith, because as part of the LGBTQ community and as part of the gay community, I don't see myself as a monolith, and I don't want us to be seen as a monolith. So I don't expect you to look at the trans community as being monolithic, which is why we needed someone like a T.S. Madison to be on the show like The Breakfast Club. Now, days after I said that, all of a sudden she appeared on the show. Now, maybe this was booked in advance, or this was like weeks ago, we ain't know about it, or they really called her in, or, clearly Charlamagne must be listening to my show or watching me, because after I said that, it was like a week later, a couple of days later, she appeared on The Breakfast Club. This was like Saturday. So it was 3 days later, she appears on The Breakfast Club, and I was so excited, and I could not wait to see this episode, because I was like, oh my God, it's going to be epic. Now, the first thing I did, because this is what I do usually when I watch shows, I was like, wait, I saw when she advertised it. And then I was like, when I saw the video was up there, because I had to work, and as soon as I got home, first thing I did was I put on that interview. Before I hit play, I looked at the bottom to see, because you can always tell by the length of something if it's going to be worth tuning in. And I know a lot of people have their short attention spans and think that a 10-minute video is enough for y'all to quench our thirst. And I'm not that type of person. I feel like if I want to really invest in something, and if people who have the gift of gab and they're intellectual and they have a lot to say, I want to spend as much time in that space as possible. So when I saw that video was over an hour, I was like, oh, we're about to get in some good shit. And boy, was I right. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check out the interview she did with The Breakfast Club. She touched on everything. And even though they try to gloss over certain things, and Charlamagne always tries to act like he's completely oblivious to the world that's going on around him, because he wants to seem like he's neutral and, I'm all about healing. Okay, now he's a walking chakra, some goddamn, like all of a sudden clicking crystals and shit. And I'm going to get to the clip in a second, but I want to set it up. So she talked about a lot of things from Sydney Starr, and I love what she said about Sydney Starr, which I think is what a lot of people feel in our community, is that when she said that I wish that I could have taken her under my wing and been like a gay mother to her. Or, because a lot of times what people don't know in our community, that when you have a couple of lost children, this is why when you see when they have houses, and like the house of Extravaganza, the House of Avalon, the House of, Ninja, the House of La Beja. When you see all these houses, especially when you see movies like Paris is Burning, they have these houses where you have a gay mother and father who take a lot of children who are homeless, whatever the case is, or come up from a rough upbringing, gay and, LGBT children who were kicked out of their homes or ran away from home or whatever the case was. They take them under their wing, they raise them, and they show them the ways of the world that they're not going to learn from their cis-het community. And Sydney Starr, with a lot of things that she's done in regards of outing, as some people would see it as, outing straight men like Chingy and recently Darius McCrary, I agreed with TS and what she said in regards of we have to take I wish I could have taken her under my wing and show her the ways of like how to navigate through this world as a trans woman, because then, you're going to make your mistakes, but if you have somebody in your corner, and that was luckily for me when I was coming up, it's like I had my parents, but I also had the guidance of older gay people that I was introduced to by friends of a younger friend of mine who I went to school, and we were friends since we were like 11 years old, and he was gay and I was gay, and we didn't know what gay was, but we had an instant connection. There was just something about, us being gay men of color or gay kids of color that we were drawn to each other. And then he introduced me to this world. He was also the one that introduced me to the B-Boy Blues book. And then introducing me to older people who took me under their wing and guided me through the world as a young gay man gay kid trying to figure out how to work in this world, the world of sex and how men work and this sort of thing, like all the things that you would not learn from your heterosexual parents. So I love that she talked about that, but she also touched on a lot of things like DaBaby, and she touched on Dave Chappelle, and she touched on the Boosie situation, and that was when things got juicy. It's definitely a good interview, so I want to play you that clip, and then I want to talk more about it. So roll that clip.
Black folks, you need to understand that it is your duty to support your black queer people. It is your duty, because we're black and queer at the same time. We're not black then queer. We're black and queer at the exact same time. So when we're fighting racism with you, I don't need you behind my back punching me in my back, fighting me because, well, that ain't our fight. So no, it is your fight. We're marginalized groups of people.
I agree with that. I think the problem.
I agree with that too. It's sort of like we are a marginalized group of people, because it's like when you hear people making the comments about us in the community and how, like recently with Joe Budden, when Joe Budden went and said that whole thing, I'm bisexual and this, that, and the third. You're not bisexual. Well, quiet as it's kept, I did hear word that, back in the day, because I was, people were chirping in my ear and sending me DMs and things, and I did saying that they were legendary, that Joe was legendary back in the day at a lot of industry parties, and he was getting down with the dudes and stuff. So while he was using it in the context of the whole recent We Forgive DaBaby in this whole thing, why he was at Rolling Loud, because he did the work, meaning he showed up and went through the motions and did his part to participate in, the I'm sorry for offending the LGBTQ community tour, when he showed up and did it in front of a bunch of organizations. Okay, well, all is forgiven. I mean, we're going to get into that in a second. But to me, it's like what people need to understand is that I think what the straight community tries to do is they try to separate us from them. And it's like, at the end of the day, yes, white gay people have the power. They're the ones who run the organizations. They're the ones who have the power and the money and the influence. Those were the ones who were going in and canceling DaBaby, like Elton John and so many others who were stopping his bag. It wasn't the black gay community, because I don't recall. I mean, there were some organizations that said they were willing to meet with him, but I didn't hear any of them talking about they were going to cancel him. And at the end of the day, it's like, yes, there's two things we have. We have being gay and being black. So, or being a person of color. There's racial discrimination within the LGBTQ community. So I don't know why people think that we're this one big monolithic rainbow of Skittles and sunshine and rainbows. That's not how our community is. There's a lot of discrimination within our own community that a lot of people don't want to talk about. But you know me and my mom, I don't give a damn. I'll speak freely about it. So I think people need to be aware that we're in this fight with you as well. So when black people are out here talking about that we're this and we're that, and they want to close all kind of F words and this, that, and the third, what you need to understand is that we're in this fight together, and us basically fighting amongst each other is not helping the situation. That's just a distraction while these people over here doing whatever it is that they're doing. We're sitting here with all this infighting. So I like the fact that we had someone as unfiltered and straight to the point and said, this is my experience. Don't take what I'm saying as this is speaking for the whole community as word and gospel. So, as this is how the whole community feels. This is my experience, and I can only speak on what I'm gone and what I'm dealing with. So And also, there was another thing that she said, and I've been saying this for years. I don't need you to accept me as a member of the, as somebody who's gay or whatever the case is. I'm comfortable in my damn skin. You can, but you're gonna respect my ass. And I've always said that. It's like, I don't give a damn if you accept me. Just respect who I am and what I'm about. And when people sit up here and talk about that, there's a lot of people within the community that feel this way. You know how many people I know who are of color that are straight and don't give a damn that I'm, a member of the LGBT. They don't care. Like this, a lot of a lot of people that I know, they don't care, or maybe they do care. They don't say nothing, but for the most part, they're fairly respectful. Like a lot of people that I encounter don't really come across as being discriminative or ignorant in that sort of way. I guess maybe it's different in New York, and I know that people get. I just speak to my extremely effeminate friends to see what it is that they go through. When I was a kid, I was called names and stuff and the other, but that's different. That's like, but comparing to now, I feel like we have evolved a lot more, and we need to stop giving so much attention to this group of people that always have a problem with the LGBTQ community and to my there's some agenda. What agenda? Like, I don't understand what agenda y'all talking about that we have. Whenever we want any kind of acceptance, or not even acceptance, maybe acceptance is a bad word because I just said I don't give a damn if you accept me, but you will respect me. Whenever we want any kind of, I guess, representation, it seems to rub people the wrong way. Oh, we have an agenda. We have this thing that we're trying to recruit people into our little cult of fucking and sucking and all of that. No, I don't got time to be training you straight folk on anything. I'm not trying to recruit you. I don't have time to train y'all and teach y'all the ways of getting your butt stretched or your dick sucked or whatever the case is. Whatever y'all got going on in your brain, that's something you need to figure out. I don't fuck around with trying to recruit straight people. I don't do that. Now, there's some of y'all out there that do that, but that's not my bag. That's not what I'm about. I'm all about being myself and going after the people that I can connect with on an energy level within my community. If you confuse whatever the case is, that's something you need to work out with you, your pastor, or your therapist. I ain't got time, but I'm getting a little off the subject. Let's bring it back. So, if you have not seen this, the interview, definitely check it out on the Breakfast Club YouTube website, because it was definitely a great interview, and I just love seeing someone like T.S. Madison, who in so many ways for me as a influencer, social, I started really paying attention to her for the past, 2-3 years. Like, I've really been paying, like, as far as what she's been all about in creating her empire, she is definitely an inspiration for someone like me. So I like that, she's not perfect and she never tries to be, but I love that she's this unfiltered person that just goes in and says what she needs to say and does what she does. Now, moving right along, let's talk about DaBaby. So apparently his ignorance has earned him the acceptance of the LGBTQ, but the community is content on giving comedian Dave Chappelle the boot. Now, in the months since the red light, green light lyricist spewed a hateful, homophobic, and HIV/AIDS targeted tirade during his set at Miami's Rolling Loud Festival in July, which one of my coworkers described Rolling Loud as Coachella of the ghetto, which I thought was hilarious, by the way. Inclusivity and Awareness nonprofit organization Relationship Unleashed has granted the rapper the green light to continue performing after finding he was merely unaware of the damaging effects of his comments. Now, there was something. So they said he's learned a lot over the past few months. Relationship Unleashed CEO Gwendolyn D. Clemens explained to TMZ about DaBaby. She claims the 29-year-old Grammy-nominated MC did not understand what he was saying when he encouraged Rolling Loud's attendees to put their cell phone lights in the air if you didn't show up today with HIV and AIDS or other STDs that'll make you die in 2 or 3 weeks. And fellas, if you didn't suck a nigga dick in the parking lot. Now, as a man who is pushing 30, how do you not understand what the fuck sucking dick in a parking lot, or if you ain't getting AIDS and dying in 2 and 3 weeks means? How do you not understand that? So you saying that DaBaby's so stupid that he didn't understand what the hell was coming out of his fucking mouth? Y'all really expect us to believe that? But the funny part was this same organization that TMZ is claiming that the CEO of Relationship Unleashed said, Gwendolyn Clemens, that she approved of the performance and that the LGBTQ organization is okay. That they're basically the gatekeepers of all things LGBTQ. Like I said, I ain't never heard of these motherfuckers, so put me on. But Gwendolyn is claiming she never said that TMZ is the liar, or the lying on them. Saying, our comments of a brief question was grossly misquoted and intentionally framed in a clickbaiting headline to drive traffic to TMZ. We vehemently deny this assertion, and the reporting does not align with our values or mission, which read an Instagram post by the organization. Now, I'm not surprised by this, that TMZ would possibly make up something. And Harvey, you know better, because aren't you a gay man? But I forgot you're a white gay male. So, of course, you're going to probably say this to suit a narrative, and you're using your website to click. But you would think TMZ would know. But then again, I don't think TMZ owned by Fox now. So I'm not surprised that y'all would be out here pushing false narratives because y'all need clicks and likes over at that website. I barely use TMZ as a source anymore. It pops up every now and again, but I'm on other websites and other blogs sourcing information, and TMZ is not even in my top 5 of sites that I go to. It'll come into my cipher every now and again, but it's literally not my number one. Like, I will go to I will literally go to page 6 before I go to TMZ, basically. I'll get tea from them. And page 6 is legendary with a lot of their gossip. So, yeah, so they're denying it. But at the same time, I want to say this. Who is any organization to decide when someone has done enough of the work to be able to go in and say what needs to be said and give someone credence to go and do what they do? I always said it, you can't cancel someone over saying something ridiculous. You can reprimand them. You can be like, well, you know what? You're just going to have to lose a couple of gigs and take a couple of lashings and suffer a little bit of the consequences when you say certain things that are deemed ignorant and hurtful. And I said that he did not only say something that affected people with HIV and AIDS, because the gay community is not the only ones affected by AIDS. I know so many straight people who have contacted HIV and AIDS, either from sex, intravenous needles, and blood transfusions. And this was from way back in the day, where I lost a member of my family because he shared a needle because he was on heroin. And you know, got addicted there, introduced to it by one of my cousins, by the way. And I don't believe my grandmother ever forgave that cousin for doing that to her child. But then it was also a situation where someone very close to me got it from a blood transfusion. There was someone, you know, so I know a lot of people who have HIV and AIDS, not just from unprotected sex, which you can get HIV from. So it's not just that. And, you know, there's undetectable means equals untransmittable. You know, there's a lot of factors that go into HIV and AIDS. So it wasn't just the LGBTQ community that was affected by that. It's anybody who is an HIV, who is affected or infected by HIV and AIDS should have been angry at what he said. Also, you talking about he was misogynistic towards women. Your pussy smell like water. He insulted women. Now, as T.S. Madison also said in that interview, she was like, well, if DaBaby would have come out and been specific as who he was talking about, because he was beefing with a lot of people. He was beefing with Megan Thee Stallion. He was beefing with other rappers where he was specifically talking about those people. But he was generalizing stuff, and a lot of people don't follow through with a lot of the celebrity news and gossip of who this rapper is beefing with, or who that other rapper is beefing with. White people ain't paying attention to all that. Y'all love y'all love it, you know, you love our rhythm, but never our blues. But they're not literally up in there listening and paying attention to the things that are being said in regards of who specifically was talking about. So maybe it should have been more specific as who he was talking about, and then it wouldn't have had that much of an impact. When you generalize, people start to, you know, say that, oh, he's talking about these group of people. So now we're going to cancel him. And like I said, you can't cancel a person. People are not a studio, a show, you know, that sort of thing. People are people. You can reprimand a person. You can hold people accountable, but you can't cancel somebody. So we need to stop calling that shit cancel culture. And for Joe Budden jumping in on the bandwagon with saying like, well, I'm gay and I'm bisexual. I like guys and girls. Spread the word. I'm down, blah, blah, blah. But then you had Tahiri, basically, you know, who was his ex-girlfriend, and she was on, wasn't she on Marriage Boot Camp or one of those shows also? She was also on Love and Hip Hop and said, Joey may be a woman beater, but far from bi, and Vado better stop calling, DMing me, and popping up to my old crib. I'm just saying. And then she also went on to say, Nah, I would have known. We did things and I'm submissive, only in bed, so that's a hard pass. No point intended. LOL. And also she went on and said, I've put the past behind me. Thank you, therapy. Phone, please stop ringing. He's a calculated person, a smart person, so smart it hurts him a lot of times. Stay tuned. And also went on to say, I mean, he got a little money now, and ninjas that ain't never had nothing might just get excited, bored, and want to try new things. If so, please let him live. Now, with him saying that, do I believe the whole bisexual thing? I actually do, because like I said, as situated earlier, there have been rumors and things about Joe Budden in the past, and quiet as it's kept, I used to think Joe Budden was cute back in the day, but now he looks a little weathered. I think it's the drug abuse and the alcohol abuse. You know, that'll take a lot out of somebody. That skin is looking a little leathery. So would I hook up with Joe Budden today? Probably not. Yeah, I do want to play all that clip, and then we'll come back and I'll give the rest of my opinion. So roll the clip.
I'm bisexual.
Fuck okay. It's okay now. You got okayed? He got okayed?
How do I spread this news? How do I spread the word?
I think you got to call the CEO.
Yo,
Yeah,
listen.
You gotta make sure it's okay.
I like guys and girls. Spread the word. I'm down.
Remember, this was the
I've seen
first
enough.
time he returned to the.
Yeah, so basically,
How you doing? Anyway.
shout out to Wendy Williams. Bitch, would you hurry up, bring your ass back to work? I'm not playing with you no more. You need to bring your ass back to work. And sidebar, somebody get Sherry Shepherd her own show, because she definitely killed it this past week on the Wendy Williams show. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. It felt a bit like a bit of both. Like, I think there's truth to him coming out as bisexual, but also it felt a bit like trolling. And even with the commentary on the side, what his co-host was saying. And yeah, I just feel like he was just trolling. He was being Joey, and very calculated, as Tahiri said. But as far as what Tahiri said before, where she was like, "Oh, we did things," I would no. First of all, there's a lot of women out here who don't know they men, because a lot of they men are out here hooking up with dudes and hooking up with trans women and hooking up with all kinds of people within the LGBTQ community, and you not knowing about it. Because I got plenty of friends that hook up with straight guys or guys with girlfriends. When y'all be pissing their ass off, they go right to their boy's house and get that knob slobbed and all that good stuff. So you don't know what your man is doing or what your man is capable of. So you say, oh, because y'all did things, you know you're a man. If someone wants to hide a part of themselves, they will move heaven and earth to do that. Because I don't want to say you ain't doing that a man will go somewhere else to get what you won't do for him. But sometimes men have needs, and there's a thing about bisexuality amongst men, especially if you're in the Black community, where people kind of look down upon people who are bisexual or don't think that bisexuals are actually they exist or they're a thing. They think that's a gateway to being gay or whatever the case was. And I also agree with this, what T.S. Madison said. You have to let men figure out who they are. I think a lot of times this is why we have toxic masculinity, or what she said, woman beater and this, that, and the third, and all this other stuff. How's that any different than what had happened before? Like, you using that as an excuse. A woman beater is not the same thing as equating that with sex or sexuality. You have to let men be men, figure out who they are, let them explore their sexuality, and then let them come in and do whatever. Hey, Sailor Mermaid, thank you for joining us. It's been a long time since I've seen you. What we're going to do is, I want to go out into a break, but what I want to do is, I want to play y'all this B-Boy Blues trailer. Do we have that ready? And then we're going to come back and then take a short break. So, and because I want y'all to see this. I don't know if y'all seen it, if y'all even know it exists, because I haven't seen anybody promoting it. So I want to let y'all know about this trailer and see it, because this is like, it's going to be a good one, and I cannot wait. So definitely check out this trailer, and then we're going to come back with my opinion and this story about Raheem Shabazz. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more On the Line.
Sorry.
You ever delivered here before?
A few times.
I've never seen you before. That's why I asked.
Guess I get seen when I'm supposed to get seen. I'm Rhyheim.
I'm Mitchell. Nice to meet you.
So, what's going down? I ain't never felt like this before.
Me neither.
Son, this is your mother calling. Called several times and I haven't heard back from you. Please call me back. I love you.
You dropped him off over here like a bag of dirty laundry and forgot to pick him up.
He was coming here to see you.
What the hell are you talking about? He came to see us.
Didn't fucking matter who took him.
It mattered to him. I can't be in love.
Why not?
Because I've been in love before. It's never felt like this.
Oh, that wasn't love. I saw it. You had that glow. It was all up in your eyes. But love don't always come when you want it. But nephew, when it comes, you better name it and claim it.
Congratulations! Oh my God.
Hey, welcome back. I hope y'all love that trailer as much as I did. I just got goosebumps again when I saw it. But yes, I am excited for this new movie, B-Boy Blues, which is based on the James Earl Hardy book that came out 27 years ago. I feel old. But yeah, I was like a mere child when that book came out, and it just like help navigate like seeing like, oh well, actually there's the same gender loving couples that exist, or there's Black people or people of color who can find love amongst each other in New York City. Like there was just something I never even imagined could happen because I never saw that example until like I said earlier, I was introduced into this world of older gay people and people who are a couple actually. Like I met Black gay couples who were in a relationship, owned a home in Brooklyn, and I got to witness that world and seeing that world exists and that you can have a relationship with someone of the same sex and be Black. So that I love. So and seeing that finally this is getting off the ground, I'm just hoping that it opens up a floodgate of more films that tells the story from a queer person of color's point of view. So it's been a long time coming. We need those. We can't just keep having one representation every decade. I feel like the last representation that we really had of that world was Noah's Ark, and that came out like what, 15 years ago, almost 17 years ago. So now the film stars Timothy Richardson, Ledisi, Brandy Evans, Broderick Hunter, Marquise Bilson, Heather B., Brian, and newcomer Thomas Mackey as Raheem. Now, B-Boy Blues follows the tumultuous relationship between Mitchell Crawford, a 27-year-old journalist, and Raheem Rivers, a 21-year-old bicycle messenger, and B-Boy. Well, B-Boy is basically a banji boy. Banji. Not having me a Paris is Burning moment whenever I say that. And banji boy is basically like a guy who is with a banjo boy is what we would consider a guy who's a thug type, which would be the wife beater, jeans, sagging pants, where you see the underwear exposed. Like that's basically that's the whole banjo boy look. So they meet at a gay bar in Greenwich Village. If I wasn't mistaken, I think it was Two Potato. In the summer of 1993, B-Boy hangs out on street corners, cool and menacing. Rhyheim is the third B-Boy in Mitchell's life, but underneath the former tough exterior, Rhyheim is smart and talented and a loving parent to his 5-year-old son, but Rhyheim also has a violent streak. Now, B-Boy Blues, which was written by James Earl Hardy, spawned a series that has sold millions worldwide and remains a staple within the Black LGBTQ plus same-gender loving community. The book, as I said, changed my life as a teenager growing up in New York City in the 90s, and hopefully the film will do the same for the next generation of queer people of color trying to navigate through this tough thing called life. Now, I have no idea when the highly anticipated film will be released, but the film is scheduled to premiere this month at the American Black Film Festival. And I know a lot of people are feeling a certain way. Wait, what's Nels? Oh, and people are feeling a certain kind of way about Jussie Smollett and all this other stuff that's going on with him, but this is his directorial debut, and I feel like, I would love to see him direct more films, and I think this is definitely going to be a film that people are going to want to see and check out. Now, I don't know, I think it's supposed to go to Amazon Prime, I believe. I've heard that story, but I'm not necessarily sure if that's confirmed. Oh, it was Nels. That's the location where they met. But yeah, so I hear it's going to Amazon Prime, but yes, I'm definitely looking forward to this movie. Like I said, that movie, the book changed my life growing up. I love that book. I love Second Time Around. That was a sequel. I don't remember the other books. I know I read them. It didn't have the same impact, but the first two books definitely were the books that I'm obsessed with. But I love B-Boy Blues. That's like my favorite book out of all of them. Now, so definitely I'm looking forward to checking that movie out when it drops. Now, let's talk about Raheem Shabazz. Now, Raheem Shabazz, for those of you who don't know, I should say, he's the gay adult content creator that shot to fame after launching his career in early 2019, has been suspended from Twitter. Now, Shabazz, who recently became the most followed male adult performer in history after eclipsing the 1 million mark, is reportedly one of more than 30 accounts that were taken down. Now, Shabazz's career was largely operated through his fan site platforms, making his Twitter account one of his primary tools of marketing. While he has done multiple scenes for Tim Tales, the lion's share of his work appears on his personal page, and he shares teaser clips regularly onto his Twitter account, as well as Twitter accounts for a loose network of collaborators to drum subscriptions. It was saying, because according to straight up gay porn, there was a multitude of sites that were suspended. So they're basically saying that iFilms, Real Talix, and Farley_XX, all of whom were close Shabazz collaborators, have also been suspended. The reason given to all account users was violating our rules against ban evasion. According to Shabazz, none had evaded suspension by creating new accounts. According to a blog operated by Scruff Brazil, some 30 Brazilian performers have had their accounts suspended as well. Among others, these include Ronnie Aislinn and Caio Rodrigues. According to a translation, those accounts received an email from Twitter's legal team saying to remove content, but did not specify what content should be removed. Days later, they were suspended. It is not known whether the suspensions were all connected to many of Shabazz's collaborators, but many of Shabazz's collaborators are based in Brazil, and he often visited there to create content. He has worked with quite a number of those suspended. Now, since a year ago, shout out to Out for this story in Straight Up Gay Porn, because I had to do research, because when I found out about this story, I actually, Nico Aesthetics had posted, Raheem Shabazz, no, not Raheem. And I was like, what happened? And so I looked and it said account suspended. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? Because nobody really explained what was going on with Raheem's account. And I'm like, why did they suspend? And then I didn't really pay that much attention to it. But then I saw friends of mine who are followers of the adult entertainment were posting about it, and then people started hitting me up and sliding my DMs, talking about Wagwan, what's going on, and I'm sitting there wait, what's happening? What's happening right now? So I had to do my research. I was like, okay, so that's the universe saying, bitch, you need to look into this. So I started looking into it. I'm like, well, why is it? What does that even mean? What do they say? They're basically telling them to remove content, but you didn't specify. And you're basically saying that they violated violating rules against ban evasion. What the hell does that even mean? Like, it's funny how these sites come up with this craziness, but they don't specify what exactly. And I've had issues with Twitter in the past. On my previous account, I have a previous account where I have over, I have a lot of followers, and I can't even get back into that account. They say I violated something. I've tried to get it back, and I've emailed them, but they don't respond. So I can't even get into that once I had to start all over, and I don't even have the same amount of followers anymore. And I think what we need to look at is, sites like Twitter and so many others have these algorithms that they develop, which is based on, discriminatory coding. So you have a lot of these things where you have these private companies who, like a Twitter, like a Facebook, like an Instagram, because Mark Zuckerberg trying to buy every goddamn thing quiet as it's kept, or maybe it's not as quietly kept as most things, because I've been hearing a lot of people talking about it. But when you have someone who create these discriminatory algorithms, and yes, a lot of these sites are created and run by white people. So you see somebody who's a person of color who has a lot of power and a lot of influence. A lot of these sites don't want that to happen. So what I was thinking, because I was having a conversation, before the show with my producer, and we were basically saying that, it might be a lot more difficult. You may not be able to get that Twitter account back. And the funny thing is, Straight Up Gay Porn, who posted about this story, said that their website was also suspended. Their account was suspended on Twitter, saying there was something or another about someone filed a false DMCA copyright notice against them for a tweet containing a video, and that the video in question was from one of their affiliates, their studio affiliates, which saying the studio affiliate didn't even file the DMCA, that someone pretending to be the affiliate filed it, meaning that Straight Up Gay Porn had the right to post the video as it was an advertisement for the affiliate, and that said that had happened before, and that they had to file a counter notification. Twitter dealt with it and gave their account back, but now they're waiting, and Twitter may or may not respond, and they may lose the account, and they'll use the backup account. But to me, it's like, when you don't own 41% of this company, when you don't own any percent of this company, these companies can do whatever the hell they want. And someone like a Raheem Shabazz, I say, are the two things that you could do, you and the rest of the adult film industry, because it seems like they're cracking down on a lot of porn stars. And Brazilians are brown folks, so we're going to equate them in that. Either the adult film community or the adult entertainment community is going to have to band together and go out in front of Twitter's headquarters, like the trans community did against Netflix and the whole debacle with Dave Chappelle. Y'all got to go out there and pick it and let them know where y'all stand with this situation. Or what you're going to have to do is basically, it's either that or you create your own website. Now, it might be more difficult, but you are someone who's who's well known and has a huge following. You had it through Twitter, but now you can go to Facebook. Like, you can go to create your own. Like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how to build websites and stuff. They try to teach me that, a little digital media when I went to film school, and I couldn't do it. I was like, I like the whole other stuff, the internship, the producing, all the other stuff I learned, but having to take that course where I had to figure out how to do the coding and creating your own website, that was just too much for my brain. Just couldn't compute. So, everybody has their strengths and everybody has their weaknesses. I happily admit that's one of mine. But yeah, he could use that influence to create his own website, OnlyFans-esque website, where he can post his content there. Just for Fans does show trailers or give you previews of their films before you go and subscribe. Now, OnlyFans, I don't know. OnlyFans even tried that shit, remember, at one time. So OnlyFans, you're not going to get a preview of, but if you know his work, you know what you're going to get when you subscribe to his films and you watch his movies. So he's either going to have to, like I said, they're going to have to go out there and pick it and let it be known that they are, sex work is real work, and that you can't just sit and discriminate without any explanation. But then again, they're a company, they can do whatever the hell they want. Or you can basically go out and create your own website. And while it will be harder to get those numbers and everything back, you can bring those people over there and you can reap the financial benefits through that, instead of having to use someone else's website that has a bigger, reach to let your voice be heard. So Rhyheim, I'm definitely going to keep looking into this story. I'm going to I'm going to follow it as it continues to develop. And on that note, I ain't got no more to say. Thank you all for tuning in. This is went in 45 minutes. So if it was a commercial, was going to be a full damn hour show. But anyway, thanks for watching into this episode of The Line. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave it in the comments. Click like, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of a lot of these topics. And also share it if you can. And soon I'm going to be creating a Patreon, y'all. So y'all can send me questions and things of that nature that you want me to, or topics that you want me to cover and that good stuff. So once again, thank you all for watching. I love you all. Until next time, ciao, darling. Oh my gosh, I need some water. Guess there's some issues.